Hello, good morning. Good morning. Eventually, oh my word. Tell you what, it's one of those things, isn't it? Technical problems. When this all works, it works really well. I think I have a dodgy USB cable. Well, it keeps telling me I've got a USB cable, and things keep kind of breaking. So there's something not right somewhere. It seems that once it works, it works. And then when it doesn't work, I have to reboot the whole machine and then log in, and then it wants me to check in with YouTube, to make sure it's actually me logging on to my computer. I mean, it's all there to protect us. It's all great. Anyway, how you doing? It's Wednesday, the 19th of October, 9:10, late morning, Pete. Good to see you. Um, you were waiting in a queue apparently at some point, but now you're here. Done nothing with me hair today, as usual. Tell you what it is, right? Been reading this book, exceptional book, super thinking. Making better decisions with mental models. And I love it. Sometimes when you listen to people, they just tell you, or when you read something, they just tell you what you already know, I suppose. And what that does is reinforces the fact that you're getting things right, or that you're kind of doing what other people think is the most appropriate. And this was great. So this was a chapter that I read, chapter 3, Spend Your Time Wisely. And I thought, yeah, absolutely. And there were a number of things that I just thought would work for today, because we've been over the last few episodes, lives, we're going to call them. We've been talking about the 10-year plan, the year plan, the harbours, the month, the week, the day on Monday, and this kind of these things that I read kind of get at some of those key concepts. And the first mental model, because all a mental model is something that we can use, an idea that we can use to give our brains a kind of framework, an easy framework to kind of consider and contemplate next steps or ideas or whatever. So the first thing that I found in this chapter of this book was find your North Star. Find your North Star. So the North Star is a mental model. Find your North Star. And I thought, well, that's Simon Sinek's why, isn't it? Find your why. And that fits with the 10-year plan thing, doesn't it? Because if you don't know why you're doing something, then you are acting like a rudderless ship without purpose. So what's your why? And I'd argue you can have a why for the 10 years, you can have a why for the year, and you can have a why for the day. Why am I about to do the things I'm about to do today? Why am I going to do those things? So that's an important thing to kind of consider, because it fits with, let me find this other thing, it fits with one of these things, which is opportunity cost. The mental model of opportunity cost says, right, okay, whatever you decide to do today means you have decided to do, morning dog, there's the dog. Whatever you decide to do today means you have decided not to do other things. So if the other things are part of your why or would help you get to your why, and you choose to do this, that, or the other that isn't helping you get your why, then the cost of that is you haven't moved forward on the things that are of the greatest value to you. So we have to accept that there's an opportunity cost. Whenever we do something, it means we're not doing something else. So we have to be very careful about the things that we do. Yeah, so that's important. The other thing that this book tells me was it talks about the idea of compound interest, which I know we've kind of talked about before, but it's worth repeating. Incremental progress leads towards a goal. The problem with incremental progress is you don't really notice that you're getting anywhere. That's the problem with it. That's why we often fail to move forward on projects, because we do day one, we do day two, we nudge it forward, we think, I'm not getting anywhere here, This is all I've done so far. It's not till we compound all of those 1% and get further down the line that where we go, look how far I've come. Look how far I've come with this. It's like, I'm obsessed with my weight loss, blogging about it over on Substack. With my weight loss, when I look at the scales one day and I haven't lost anything, look at the scales the next day and I haven't lost anything. Look at the scales the next day, I've lost half a pound. Look at the scales the next day, I haven't lost anything. Look at the scales the next day, I've lost half a pound. Very demoralizing, or it can be if you let it. But now I'm sat in a position where today, after a bit of a kind of roller coaster of a week or so, find myself in a position where let me work this out, where I am £9 lighter than I was when I started. So I look at that and I think, because it's those half pounds over 35 days, maybe, they've compounded. I've got £9 loss. £9 loss. You know, that's well over half a stone. That's brilliant in a month, or just over a month. That's brilliant. But if I'd focused just on today I haven't lost anything, what the hell, then I wouldn't do that. So it compounds anyway. You've got to stay, you've got to know your North Star, because you've got to keep yourself pointed in the right direction to help you make the choices that take into account that opportunity cost idea. They talked about multitasking, and how difficult it is. And the line, you can only perform one high concentration activity at a time. When I talk about multitasking, people go, but yes, Stephen, obviously I can multitask because I can drive my car, listen to the radio, and have a conversation and do, and that's right. Okay, yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's Daniel Kahneman's System 1 and System 2 idea, isn't it? Yeah, we've got an automatic part of our brains that can do all those things and keep all those things in mind, but we've also got a deliberate part of our brain. It's when you're using that deliberate part of your brain on a high concentration activity, that you can only serve that one activity at once. And it tells a lovely story. It mentions Cal Newport's Deep Work, one of my favorite books. Somebody said, I've had a couple of people, I've had a few people over the years of doing this with all the books behind me go, I wish I could have a good look at your bookshelves. So I'm thinking of doing a little kind of here are my books thing. Don't know. On the shelf. Stephen's on the shelf was what I thought. Yeah, and maybe I'll show you a handful of my books every day. Be another thing other than this. You can tip out that if you want. Anyway, so because Cal Newport's Deep Work is on there. Brilliant book. Love it. And he mentions that, but then he mentions that the CEO of PayPal, Peter Thiel, I never know how to pronounce that. Thiel. He said, he insisted that every single person could only do exactly one thing at a time. And if they came to him with another subject that they wanted to do, I'm going to do a bit of this thing, you were like, no, you're doing that thing. Go and do that thing. When that thing's finished, we'll do the next thing. So, it's very important, very important. It mentions the Eisenhower decision matrix. We need to get everything into not urgent, but important. Absolutely crucial. So there you are. I mean, that was just, I just read that and I thought, of all the things we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, because we had that little dip when I was away on holiday, of all the things we've been talking about, that kind of summed them up really well. Simon Sinek's why, or the North Star, keeping your eye on the goal, making sure you're doing the right things, because if you're doing the wrong things, you're not doing the right things. All of those kind of things, doing one thing at a time. So all good stuff there. And I've just read that. So I thought I'd share that with you. And it kind of summarizes lots of the things that I talk about. I do talk about the same things on a regular basis. And I think that's fine, because I need reminding of these things as well. Or we drift off, we lose focus on our North Star and end up heading off in a different direction. And we need brought back sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see you on Friday, see how you're all getting on, and we'll do something then. All right. Okay. Good stuff. See you soon.